You know this is not for you. Yes, you're not. Oh, you're doing a stretch. Okay. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Tea and Tarot, or welcome back to Tea and Tarot if you've been here before. So today's reading is a pick-a-pile reading, all about which era are you in, based on Halloween themed or horror themed tropes. So are you in your final girl era, your villain origin era, or your ghost with unfinished business era? So we have 4 piles for you to choose from today in our pick-a-pile reading. And if you don't know how pick-a-piles work, I'll explain it to you now. You essentially want to pick the pile you feel most intuitively drawn to based on the energy of the pile, the number of the pile, the crystal or object on top. You can also pick using the zodiacs in the description box below next to the timestamps. So we have 4 piles for you today. Pile 1, 2, 3 and 4. And these are your crystals. Pile 1, you have an elephant agate totem. For pile 2, you have some spirit quartz. For pile 3, you have an opal mushroom. And for pile 4, you have a malachite heart. Once you have picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye! Okay, hello my pile ones, welcome to your reading. So let's put your little elephant totem over there. It's giving strength because it's an elefante. Strength! What did I just say? What did I just say? That is so cool. You have the strength card with this really beautiful whale here. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's making me feel almost like you're in your final girl era, just because it's like, oh my gosh, and you have the star. Yeah, I feel like it's got to be final girl era. Maybe mixed with a little bit of ghost with unfinished business, because you have the strength card with the whale here, and we can see that there is like an aura around the whale, but you can also interpret this as oil, and it's a representation of how like we're kind of destroying their habitat with our fishing practices and just our very un-environmentally friendly ways. So it's like you've been through it all, you've experienced it all, you've basically gone through hell, and you're like the last one standing. Because when I think of whales as well, especially those types of whales, but all whales really, they're becoming an endangered species because of us. And that means that a lot of them are alone, where they're actually pack mammals, and they like to be with each other. They like to be in groups. But we're finding now that they're quite lonely and there's like only one left. So it makes me feel like this is final girl energy, especially with a star as well. So I often think of, well, I suppose stars are surrounded by other stars, but I think of it as like one. And then we've got the elephant as well, which also pack animals, but they're incredibly strong and they show their strength through like their loyalty and their love to their community. And here it's like without community. So I think you are in your final girl era, and it's because of missing community here. Yes, we have the 5 of Cups. I'm absolutely right. I've hit the nail on the head here, because with the 5 of Cups, it's like you've lost something. Let's say you've lost your community or your stability. Maybe it's family, friends, it could be anything. You've lost some sort of connection. And so you're kind of this figure here, like dwelling on all of those lost cups, which have been spilt over. We can see the 3 spilt cups. However, when this figure is ready to move on from their grief and their mourning of those cups, and they turn around, they'll see they've still got 2 cups standing. That's their strength. That's their hope. That's what's coming next for them. And across the way, there's a bridge in the background showing them that they have great success and future endeavours with this tower here. Safety, security, comfort, respite, healing. Once they stop dwelling on the loss and start focusing on what's next. And with the star, of course, we have wish fulfillment here. So even though you're in your final girl era, as we often see with the final girl standing in horror movies, usually something really good is about to come. Yes, they've been through hell. Like if we look at, what's that horror movie? It was like, was it Hide and Seek or something? Where she marries, spoiler alert, some guy who's like super rich, and the way that his family stay rich is that they actually sold, like made a deal with the devil or something, whereby they sacrifice a person on the like wedding night, I think, of each family. I'm not sure how it works, I can't remember. But you have to play a game, and the game could be anything, but the game will result in like death. So it could be like chess, it could be like hide and seek or whatever, and whoever loses dies basically. So if the family doesn't kill her by the end of their like the 24 hours after they got married or whatever, they die. And they're not sure if it's true. It's a superstition. They're just following it through because they're not sure. And she is the last woman standing, and they all die, and she inherits that wealth and that house and stuff. So it's like, yeah, she's been through hell. Okay, the final girl has definitely been through hell. But then they're given this like gift at the end, almost this promise of a future that the other characters in the movie did not get. You know, their fate was much quicker and final. Whereas for the final girl, there is hope. There is option for the future. So I see you having a very bright future despite being in your final girl era. It's because you're in your final girl era, actually, that you do have such a bright future, because mixed in here with this kind of oil spillage is also, as I said, an aura. And this is a multifaceted, beautiful rainbow aura of like you being so fulfilled and feeling stable and secure within yourself as well. Okay, so I want to get some oracle cards now to basically get more information on this. So we have change. Yeah, I think you're going through, like here, it's like this figure's been eaten by the snake, right? Not fun, not great, definitely final girl era stuff. And then they're being digested out as an egg. So that is newness, that's renewal, that's when you come out and you're this spirit or this soul here or this ghost. You're basically ready to start a new cycle in your life. You're starting from the beginning again and you're growing again. So it's here we've gone on a death journey, something has ended. Now you're going on some sort of transformation and now you're being reborn. And this is your soul with a fresh slate. So it's almost like for you there's a cleansing of the soul when it comes to your final era girl energy. Like you made it out and now you get a fresh start, a clean canvas, a blank canvas, ready to begin something brand new. So this thing that kind of got you to that final girl era, that wore you down and meant that you had to be so strong, relating to connection and family, has meant that while they didn't work out for you, maybe they weren't supportive, maybe they weren't the right, kind, caring people that should be in your life, this does not mean that you don't get to have that. That does not mean that that door is closed and that chapter of your life is over. That is completely untrue. What we're actually seeing is that there is family, there is connection, there is reuniting for you ahead. Maybe it's with different people though. Maybe it's with people who care about you more and work better as a community and don't expect you to kind of carry everything, if that makes sense. Let's see what's in your future then. Ooh, okay, we have control. Yes, because a key element of Final Girl era is that now the power's in their court. Like with that girl from Hide and Seek, or woman, sorry, in Hide and Seek, she now has all the control. At the end, her husband tries to beg her to forgive him and say that they're married, they're safe, because he doesn't want the same fate as his family. And she should forgive him for trying to kill her and, whatever. She holds all the power there. She holds the control and she's like, I want a divorce, and takes the ring off and he burns up in flames kind of thing. So for you, I think because you're the final girl, you get the power handed back to you. Yes, you've been powerless, but now you're going to be powerful. And something interesting here is this snake is the system, right? It's the system taking you in, gobbling you up, and making you start again, start from the bottom of the ladder. Literally, like, if you think of snakes and ladders, it sets you back, right? It takes you a couple steps back. And over here, this figure who's now in control, who is you, as a result of this, is holding all these vines that they're controlling, and at the end of the vine is a snake head. So it's like you've taken this system, this structure that didn't work for you, and you have bent it to your will. You are changing it to work for you. Or you're saying, I refuse to participate in this structure anymore. I refuse to participate in this cycle, in this behaviour, in this habit. I refuse to be a pawn in this game. You know, you're not going to continue the cycle of that hide and seek game every year or whatever it is. You're like, this game is done and we're throwing it away. It's gone. You know, you're getting rid of whatever the thing was that was causing you pain, whether it was maybe that you continue to kind of like maybe take people back and not see your worth and struggle to, you know, say what your needs are because you think voicing your needs is rocking the boat or causing disruption. You're like, that system, that structure, it doesn't work for me anymore, and you're getting rid of it so that you're comfortable voicing what you need to voice when you need to voice it, and you see it as not rocking the boat but being honest, and just putting yourself first. So you're changing like the structure and the system that kind of had you trapped before. Okay, and now I want to get some more oracle cards just to see now where this is going to leave you. Okay, so you have wisdom and play. I love that because I was kind of talking about like playing a game, and you're like, I'm done with like this system, this role. I'm throwing that game out. We're not doing it anymore. Oh, and we also got companion. So literally what I was saying, there definitely is hope and option for you in the future, like wishing on a star. If you wish for it, it will come to you. I do see the spooky pals. I see you having friendship. I see you having the family you wanted, the connection you wanted, and the support. It's all down to you. The control is now back in your hands. You can have these things. And it's because you're refusing to participate in the structures that were kind of keeping you in a place where you were surrounded by like not great people. You're breaking down those structures. Those parts of you that kind of kept you safe when they needed to, that told you to be quiet and not rock the boat, and to kind of, I guess, use humour or something as a defense mechanism. Those parts of you don't need to keep you safe anymore. Once you've healed and you're over grieving and you look forward, you realise that those parts of you, while necessary at that time in your life, and they did a great job of protecting you, so thanks to that, but you're realising you don't need those parts anymore, and you're letting them go. You're putting those pieces of the game down because you're realising you don't need it anymore. And that's the where the wisdom is coming in. You're seeing yourself for who you really are. You're allowing that inner you to come out, this new fresh person, to come out of this event where you have been played, where you have been used as a pawn. You're coming out of it as a brand new soul, as a brand new person who doesn't need to participate in those games, who recognizes, it's almost like you've had an awakening moment or a glass shattering moment where you realize you could have kept going round and round in that cycle, causing yourself this final girl era pain, by staying trapped in that kind of system. But luckily for you, this wisdom's been given to you where you pull yourself out of it and you look at it objectively with like clear eyes, and you realize, I actually don't have to. Like, I can walk away from this and I don't need to participate. So somehow it's like the whale has found a way to circumnavigate all of the torment in its life, or overcome it, or move past it, or flow with it, like avoid it maybe even. You figured out a way to no longer play these silly games where you win silly prizes, where people kind of use you or, you know, mistreat you in some kind of way. You're done with it and you realise there's a different way and there's more hope for you in the future with better people. So that is what I see for you, Pile 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. If you resonated with this reading, drop a black heart in the comment section below. And if you're drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on Tea and Tarot. Bye! Thanks, guys! Okay, hello my Pile 2s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Spirit Quartz and you have the Lover card. Ooh! This is the gender neutral Lovers card from this deck. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, we have the World card. Okay, to me, this Pile 1 had the same outcome, but this is giving Final Girl, because what's the horror movies that are kind of popping to my mind is what's that new one? It was like I've forgotten what it's called, but it's where these like girls go knocking around onto like people's doors to promote like religion or whatever, and this guy lets them in and he's like, yeah, let's have a chat, like I want to get religious, whatever, but actually he's a psychopath and he set up this whole like maze in his house for them to like prove their faith or whatever and what door they're gonna pick, and it was like psychological and stuff. Anyway, one of the girls, spoiler alert, said you know, if she dies she'll come back as a butterfly or whatever, and maybe it's giving unfinished business then. Okay, I'm gonna think about this because she did, I think, die, but it was hinted that she was either Final Girl or a ghost, right? And she had died and come back as a butterfly. It wasn't clear. The ending was left up to interpretation. So this is either Final Girl or ghost with unfinished business. Let me look at this card. So we have the World card. So I would say Final Girl because you're like standing victorious. You know, celebrating. Let's see what this card is. We have the King of Cups. Happiness, love, maturity. I'm thinking, let's get some more cards on here before I start to figure out which one it is. But to me, at the minute, it's giving Final Girl. But let's see. Okay, we have Hurt in reverse. Okay, it's got to be Final Girl then, because Ghost with unfinished business would be hurt, you know, would be vengeful. So in that case, I'm going to say Final Girl. So, you're in your Final Girl era, and it definitely has something to do with the completion of something. So, therefore, the end of a cycle. And we've got the King of Cups, you know, the King of Love here, the King of Emotions, and then we've also got the Lovers. So I think where this is coming from with this lack of hurt is potentially that a close connection of yours has come to an end. Could be a romantic relationship, that is what I'm getting, but it could be anything. It could be a friendship, you know, it could be maybe your connection to a family member, like maybe you've realised you're on two different paths, you're just not the same as you used to be, and you accept it, but that just means that you probably won't interact as much or, you know, hang out with each other as much. And so what I'm kind of seeing is that, yes, something has come to an end to sort of cause you to be this Final Girl, the last one standing. Yes, something has come to an end, but it hasn't come to an end in a bad way, because you're not hurt. You're not wounded by it. You're not, you know, you're not vengeful. There's no, you know, unfinished business. There's no resentment. It's just a case of things didn't work out. And so it almost came to a natural, inevitable end, like a natural cycle where it's almost like you kind of knew for a while it was heading in this direction. But you didn't necessarily like have all the facts at the time to then put an end to it as soon as you realised. It's more like you followed it through to its natural ending progression. And so there's no bitterness or ill will or bad intentions. I almost see it as you're kind of glad it ended in a sense. I think for you it's almost like you're relieved it ended in a sense, because it was almost dragging on to a point where it was starting to not feel good, it was kind of almost detrimental to your joy and happiness in life, and it almost felt like it was holding you back from new opportunities, meeting new people who could appear in this area of your life, or even it was holding you back from time with yourself where you can just explore yourself first and not really think about others and not think about having to have connections with others as well. So I think it was a nice welcome ending. So even though this is like final girl era, there is definitely some, struggle along the way, because let's say it's a romantic connection or a friendship. When you start this connection with somebody, of course you don't think it's going to end, because you wouldn't have started it otherwise. You obviously don't enter relationships thinking automatically it's doomed to fail. So in a sense it has been, not great news to hear that it's not going to work out, or realise it's not going to work out. But I think you've had so much time to grapple with the fact that it isn't working, that you have already made your peace with it, and you actually feel good about it as well with the World card here. So that's why I think that energy is coming in for you. Let's get some more info on here. Stability. So now that this connection, I love this for you, now that this connection has ended, you're so much more stable. I think before it was leaving you a little bit in limbo. We also have pride. I think you are happy with this outcome. I think it makes you feel good. But now that you've left this connection in the past, you feel more stable. You feel more grounded. Whereas maybe before you felt like you couldn't settle for too long, and you always had to doubt yourself, or wonder what's next, or wonder where this is going to go. Now you know where it was going to go because it's ended, and so you feel more comfortable in the fact that you now know where you stand with this person, and you now know what you can do now. You feel free to move on and do what you want, and that gives you so much more stability. And I think you're a very emotionally mature person, so I think for you this isn't you don't have kind of an immature response to this. You're not like pissy about things basically, or upset about things in a retaliation or antagonistic kind of way. You're happy with it, and you feel like you came out of this situation on top. Like, I think whatever reason you left for, or whatever reason this ended for, because you guys weren't on the same page and you were different, I feel like it's like you were different in your favour. So like you were heading down a better road than them, and so for that reason it had to end. And so you feel good because your road is clear, your road is good, and now you can be better aligned with either yourself or somebody else who's better suited to you as well. Let's get some other little oracle cards on here. Ooh, we have adventure. I'm so excited for you. So you have adventure, so that's what's next, what's coming next. So firstly, I think you're going to take this time to figure out who you are. I also think you're going to travel a lot. I think externally and internally, but externally, I think there's going to be lots of fun times. Maybe this connection was holding you back from that before, and now you feel like you can go and do those things. And potentially there are also new connections on the horizon with message here. Maybe you're sharing your thoughts or ideas relating to the loss of connection with somebody. This is so quite similar to part 1. If you were drawn there, feel free to check that one out after this. But I think now you have a lot of hope for the future. You're curious about what's going to happen next. You're not feeling stuck or like, is this it? Is this all there is? You now feel hopeful that there is something later, that it can be better, something in your future. And with memory here, I feel like you are forever grateful to whoever this person is for everything they did for you, for the connections you had, the times that you had together, and they've definitely helped you and grown you as a person. These experiences have been invaluable, but you're ready for the next thing, especially the next thing in love, because if you see there, this bat holds a rose, and roses are, symbols of love, and so this card always reminds me of more of a romantic kind of connotation, and lots of traveling. They're crossing the path. I wonder if maybe your next romantic connection with somebody will be somebody who doesn't live in the same country as you, and maybe you have to travel to them, something like that. But what I'm noticing here is lots of love. We've got lots of twos, lots of flight, lots of movement. I definitely see you traveling, adventuring, having fun, moving on to greener pastures, to a better, brighter future, and brighter connections with others as well. So that was your reading, pile 2. You are, in fact, in your final girl era. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel out. And if this tarot reading resonated with you, please comment a black heart below. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. As I said, pile 1 could totally be your thing. And if not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another tarot reading or tarot related video on Teen Tarot. Bye. Thanks, guys. Okay, hello my pile 2s. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the little opal mushroom. Straight off the bat, that does give me more Ghost with Unfinished Business vibes, because following the horror theme, I read I think it was like a horror book. It was quite strange. But it was about ghosts and taking a mushroom-like capsule or drug that allowed you in that moment to commune with the dead and see your dead loved ones. However, it had an unfortunate side effect of making you, 1, of course, want the drug again, but 2, it allowed ghosts to, interact with you, touch you, haunt you, follow you around. You couldn't really get rid of them even if you weren't high anymore, kind of thing. And so that gives me Unfinished Business vibes. But let's check out your cards first. Okay, so we have the Emperor here. So lots of big leadership energy. We have the Strength card. We had the Strength card in this deck for pile 1 as well. Yeah, and I suppose leaders do have to be strong. So there's something about... You're literally joking. You're literally joking. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. When I shuffle cards for you guys, I do not pick what the cards are. I do not look. I do not check. Unless I've explicitly said to you, I have picked purposefully, the first 3 cards on the table for you to pick from. Maybe I've picked the spooky ones so that it follows a theme for the video or something. But unless I've explicitly said that to you, I do not pick them. I like to do it completely unseen to me, and completely kind of unpredicted, so that I can just adapt in the moment. And also it makes me feel like it's a little bit more spooky and spiritual, like I'm trusting spirit to pick them. So the fact that you got 2 Strength cards is genuinely wild. And I was talking about, with lions as well, and I was talking about strength from pile 1. If you were drawn to pile 1, definitely go and check that out, but that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay. This reading is definitely meant for you if, with such powerful imagery coming in. Okay, I do think, now I've sat here for a bit and I've looked at the cards and I've thought about all the options, I'm still going to stick to my guns that this is Ghost with Unfinished Business, because there's 2 of you. There's 2 sides of you. There's the side of you that handles things really diplomatically, very peacefully, can make amends with things. And then there's this more rough rogue side of you that's like, I'm angry. I've been disrespected in some kind of way. I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna express that. And that is just a side of you that is trying to protect you. The Ghost with Unfinished Business is the person that didn't have the strength in the moment to protect themselves, but now has conjured all of that strength to protect themselves or make amends in the afterlife. And again, the Strength card can be about making amends, or making connection or peace with your demons or your dark side, or grappling with what to do, whether to, show that aggression or not. And so I think what I'm seeing here with the lions, this is representing the almost protector nature behind the ghost with unfinished business. It's the part of themselves that wanted to protect their life, that wanted to live it and had it unjustly taken away from them too soon. And so it's almost like coming back with a vengeance or being protectors. Like, I don't know if any of you guys had this, but like back in the day, like people used to have like animal statues or gargoyles, whatever you want to call them, sitting at the front of their gate entrance to their houses. So a lot of the times these would be lions, but they could have owls or eagles, something like that. My nan actually had lions, so this, and a lion knocker on the door as well. So to me, it's giving protection, guarding, and that this unfinished business element only comes into play if that boundary, if that threshold of protection gets crossed. If you set boundaries with people moving forward because you've been hurt in some kind of way, and you are being clear and concise with your intentions and what the result will be, and those boundaries are still crossed, you go and do exactly what you promised to do, which was be full guns blazing about it, and protecting yourself, roaring like the lion, being aggressive like a seal, like you are not allowing people to disrespect you. There's this one side of you where beyond that boundary, that threshold, that gated entrance to your haunted house, you are chill, you are mellow, you are calm. The second someone crosses it, that's when you aren't anymore, but you make it clear from the beginning, don't go in there, don't cross that boundary. And if that's not listened to, that's not your problem, and that's exactly how you see it. And you stay 100% true to yourself 24/7. Like this, you don't ever doubt your reactions to things because you know that you set really clear consequences, intentions, and boundaries in the beginning. So if someone else crosses that, that's on them. Something I'm kind of seeing as well is, I forgot what I was going to say. That's very frustrating. If I remember, I will circle back, guys. Okay, let's get some oracle cards for you now. What kind of happened to cause this, I suppose, vengeance? We have rejection. And then we have this person kind of tearing a piece of themselves. I think this has something to do with the fact that when people tend to cross your boundaries or not listen to you when you're saying, like, you need space or you need time to heal or whatever, what tends to happen is rather than challenge that and say, like, hey, I've told you no, like, and you're still, like, kind of doing it, you let them. And in doing that, you deny parts of yourself that want to protect you. You deny your own authority. You deny your own strength and value. You weaken your resolve. You weaken your ability to set those boundaries with confidence and comfortability and ease later down the line. Each time you let someone cross that line and push you down and cross that boundary, it weakens your ability to set that boundary again moving forward. And so in turn, every time you do stand up for that boundary, every time you do roar like the lion and get aggressive and say, nope, this is my boundary and you're not crossing it, and if you do, there is a consequence, you're rebuilding that part of yourself. You're making it easier for you to set that boundary in the future. And so I think what's occurred is people have crossed your boundaries time and time and time again to a point where you're now not standing for it. I think with regards to your future, you're hopeful that you can be surrounded by people who respect that. Even we see here these curious onlookers. They want to know what's beyond these clouds. They want to see. They want to take these stars, these valuable parts of you. They want to take them for themselves. You're keeping those clouds there. You know, it's their choice if they want to cross that boundary, but if they do, there is a consequence. Yeah, we have powerlessness with rage in reverse. So every time you suppress that lion, every time you don't let that rage out, every time you push it down, you take away a part of your power. That's what I was trying to say with you take away your strength and ease to set those boundaries again. To maintain your power, you need to maintain a level of reasonable anger when disrespected. You know, it's not normal to be disrespected well, it is normal, but it's not right to be disrespected and to be okay with that. It probably means you're used to shrinking yourself for others. You're used to not rocking the boat and being quiet because you can sense tension in the room and you thought it was your job to fix that tension. But now you know that's not... Hi, baby. Oh, you've got a visit from Kit. It's just a completely black screen right now. Okay, don't look at my baby dandruff, okay? She's just a little bit malty. Don't look at her like that. You're getting a visit from Kit, a little spiritual blessing for your pile. She's telling you, okay? Stand up for yourself, please. Value yourself, please. She's also telling me, please, go and get me a treat for the love of God. Like, that's also what she's telling me. Okay. So. Ooh, I asked what are you gonna do with this, you know, retaliation, this vengeance. Ghosts with unfinished business. You're gonna get creative. This reminds me of, I just filmed a video of Am I the Asshole Reddit stories that are paranormal related. So it's on theme for today's horror themed video. But she found a creative way to evict her ex who was not leaving from her house by faking a haunting. And so I can see that. I can see you getting playful with your vengeance. Playful with your way to navigate people who don't listen. People who do cross boundaries. People who do try and take away parts of you. Okay, and what's next for you? Adventure. So I'm seeing lots of fun, lots of happiness. As I said, lots of playfulness with this creativity. New experiences. Ooh, and we have passion as well. With passion, it's like when you awaken this lion, when you awaken your emotions and allow yourself to feel and stand up for yourself, you're awakening your passions, because you're awakening... A rage is a passion, you know, wanting to defend yourself comes from a very passionate place. It's also enjoyment, because when you're suppressed and when you're feeling weak and powerless, you don't feel the need to go after the things you enjoy. You don't feel the need to live your life and have fun, because you're too busy feeling burnt out. And so with the passion there, it's like your enjoyment of life is reinvigorated because of this unfinished business, because of this retaliation that you do in a very fun, creative way. So that is what I see for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. Hello, my pile 4s. Welcome to your reading. So you chose this Malachite heart. I kind of like this like S side, so I'm gonna go with that one. So let's see. Oh, we have the devil. Okay, interesting. Let me have a think. That's got to be your villain era, right? Your villain origin. That's got to be, because when you think of like the devil, of course, first it was you know, a deity that pagans worshipped, who was actually really positive and like a great a great deity. But then of course when like the Abrahamic religions kind of took over, you know, Catholicism, that sort of thing, they took it and turned it into something they could use for the Bible to make sure that the pagan religion ended and people turned to Catholicism. And so they turned what people used to worship and love into a symbol of fear, of terror, and turned it into a fallen angel of God who creates evil and spreads evil around the world. And so, of course, no one wanted to worship it anymore. They abandon the paganism. They go to Catholicism. So I think for you, this is definitely villain origin, because that was the villain origin. It was taking something that was sacred and pretending it wasn't, spreading misinformation to make people no longer worship it, to make people afraid of it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. So very exciting so far. Oh, we have the High Priestess. I am definitely getting energy of like turning the word witch, meaning wise woman, into something negative, like, a sorceress, someone who is like evil and deceptive and is a hag and has, cats as familiars and goats as familiars and they're up to no good and blah blah blah, when actually they were wise healers. So I'm seeing some sort of betrayal pertaining to your image coming through, which is why you're in your villain origin story. Yes, we have the Chariot. This has been a quick turnaround. You may find that at the minute you're quite isolated because of this misinformation that has tarnished your reputation. You may find that you start to, maybe you have lost people or opportunities or things around you that you once loved and, enjoyed in your life because of this misinformation that someone has spread about you. So you're cooking, you're devising a plan of one, redemption, cleaning your image in the eyes of the people you care about most, because it's not fair what has happened and you will not stand for it. It's like if someone were to lie about you and say you did something when it was never you, it was somebody else, but everyone believes that person, and so now you look like the bad person. It's something like that, and you are staying true to who you are, but also returning to ways of wisdom that can maybe help you in this situation, not only improve your image and repair it, or maybe embrace this new image with without looking back, and maybe turning it into something cool and stylish so that people once again favor you. It's reminding me of Easy A. I know that's not on horror themed territory, but it's reminding me of Easy A when everyone was calling her a hoe, and she was like, fine, I'll be a hoe. And she came into school dressed all in corsets and that. So that's the energy it's giving. You're fine, if you want to make me your villain, I'll be your villain. So I'm seeing that, and you're leaning into it. Good for you, Pole 4. Okay, so let's get some oracle cards for some extra info here. Yes, you lost a connection with something. However, it's still there. Bumblebee, you visiting? You saying hello to Pile 4? Oh, thank you. Just sweet of you. You have Kit's seal of approval. Her butt stamp of approval on the tarot card right there. Why you always gotta zip butt first on the tarot card? You have some healing pearls coming your way. Don't look at her dandruff, okay? All the pretty girls have it. Don't judge. Okay, lads, I'm gonna crack on and keep talking because she's not moving. So stare at my cat's booty while I tell you the rest of your tarot reading. So, basically, I can see you there's a connection in a sense, because it's while you may not now value whoever it could be that you don't value this person who spread misinformation about you anymore. It could be that you don't value those who believe them. But the point is there's still a connection to the both of you, because the connection is this misinformation. The connection is that this rumour or this lie is still circulating, it's still tarnishing your reputation, and that's keeping you tied to them. And so while that continues, you have this connection with them. You actually have a hold over them, and you will figure it out. if you don't know it yet, you will figure it out. And when you figure out what this hold is that you have, this dirt that you have on them, it could be the truth. Maybe you've got evidence to prove that this lie is a lie, but you start devising a really creative plan on, how do I want to execute this with flair? How do I want to step into the villain energy that they've kind of portrayed me as, while also making sure that my image is redeemed and everyone who kind of betrayed you regrets it. So I can see you working hard and having a quick turnaround of whatever this is, whatever this lie is. Okay, so let's see. The outcome will be quite big. It will be quite all-consuming. However, it's nothing you can't handle because we have overwhelm in reverse. So it's almost underwhelming, if anything. Like, it's almost predictable how they immediately side with you once the truth is revealed and regret their ways and want to pander to you, and you're kind of like, yeah, no. Like, you're like, great, thanks, and we're moving on. So that's kind of the outcome that I'm seeing for you there. I'm also seeing that there is hope for you in the future, of maybe returning to or rekindling connections that you are maybe not happy about ending because of this, and going back to it. It could be somebody that you continue to think about past this point. Somebody who you think, I can't believe they fell for it, but they were apologetic and they didn't, and you think about it over time and you realise maybe you do want to forgive them. I can see that being a part of the future there for you. Interesting. I wonder if, because we've got guidance here, somebody is helping you out. So it could be like this person, for example, who has spread this misinformation about you, has done it before. And for that reason, that could be your key to your evidence with this little glowing orb with the glowing light here in guidance in the Book of Wisdom here. This is like your ticket out, your way to redeem yourself in this creative flair way. This hold you have, it could be what's kind of coming to my mind is like in is it Final Destination or something? But as the movies continue and it happens to more and more people, each time the secret weapon is the people it happened to before, who have wisdom and knowledge on how to tackle and defeat this thing, or evade it at least. And so they pass them on that knowledge to evade it. So it could be something like that. It could also be, if we take out the horror references for the video for a second, it could also be something like if somebody cheated on you but actually said you were the one who cheated, and then somebody came forward and said, no, they did it to me too, here's all the evidence, let's chat, let's have a coffee or whatever. Something like that. Like, you've got a secret weapon up your sleeve, and it could be someone else who is slightly wiser and more experienced with this person, because they've already had it been and done. They're at the end of this journey, whereas you're at the beginning. And I can see that creating connection for you. Your villain era is surrounding you with other similar villains who have been through the exact same thing and were villainized, but who were, who had done nothing wrong. The underdogs. I can see you finding community there. So that is what I see for you, Pole 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If you resonated with this reading, please drop a black heart in the comment section below. And if not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading or tarot related video on Tea and Tarot. Bye!